So it looks like NVIDIA is up to the same old tricks, releasing two different cards under the same name. And if you're looking at getting a GPU, you might want to consider doing it before 2022 runs out, because in 2023, those prices might be going up by 25%. So we're going to look at two of those topics in this video, and I will leave links to all the articles that I'm referencing here in the description down below. Now, starting off with NVIDIA being up to their same old tricks, the 3060 is coming out with an 8 GB model. Now, for the most part, this wouldn't have been a big issue, but there's going to be significantly less performance with the 3060 8 GB versus the 3060 12 GB. And the reason for that is the 12 GB or the 8 GB model going down the 4 GB will reduce the memory bus from 192 bits down to 128 bits. And the bandwidth is then going to also reduce from 360 gigabytes per second down to 240 gigabytes per second. And how do we know that this reduction is going to impact performance? And it's because Hardware Unbox got a hold of a GPU. They were able to do some testing, and they figured out that there was going to be a 17% impact to performance between the 8 GB model and the 12 GB model. It looks like the 3060 is going to be more comparable in performance to a 3050 than it is going to be a 3060. And that same goes between 1080p and 1440p. We're seeing in 1080p over 12 games a reduction of about 16 FPS on average, compared to 1440, where we're going to see around a 12 FPS reduction in performance. A lot of people question, why wouldn't NVIDIA just come out with a 3050 Ti? There's no 3050 Ti. This would be kind of hitting that sweet spot in between a 3050 and a 3060. Instead, they're just going to cause confusion with their consumers. They're coming out with a 3060, same name, different RAM configurations, and significantly different performance. This is definitely going to impact less sophisticated consumers, those probably who are buying a pre-built. They're going to be looking at it. They're going to see a 3060 8 GB that's going to be cheaper than 3060 12 GB. They're going to go that route, not realizing the impact to performance going with that 8 GB model. Those individuals who are going to be building their own computer will probably be doing a lot more research to come up with what GPU they want to use. In that case, they will come along they'll come along results like this, and we'll be able to figure out that, oh, the 3060 8 GB does perform substantially lower than the 3060 12 GB. Now, the reason why there's such a drop in performance going from 192-bit to 128-bit is due to the memory configuration. Each lane is a 32-bit lane. So when you're going from a 2 GB chips, well, 6 2 GB chips, you have 6 32-bit lanes. Now they're going down to 4 32-bit lanes. So that's how you get from 192 to 128 bits, because they're going down to 4 2 GB RAM chips versus 6 2 GB RAM chips. And you're probably thinking, okay, well, the 3060 Ti is an 8 GB model. The 3060 is an 8 GB model. Why do these have significantly different memory bus and bandwidth performance? Well, that's because the 3060 Ti has 8 1 GB chips. Each one of those chips has a 32-bit lane. So you end up with 8 32-bit lanes for 256 bits. So you have a lot more bandwidth for those 8 GB to run on versus the 3060 8 GB. 3060 8 GB model with 128-bit. So if they would have gone the route of the 3060 Ti and stuck 8 1 GB models on there, it would have had significantly higher memory bus rate and bandwidth, and we would have ended up with no impact to performance, just a lower RAM configuration. But that's not what they wanted to do. Unfortunately, I feel bad for the consumers, because this can be confusing for, like I said, some of the less sophisticated users. So why should you consider purchasing your GPU in 2022 versus waiting to 2023? that is because there is an exclusion set to expire on Chinese manufactured hardware come December 31st, 2022. So starting January 1st, 2023, any essentially PC hardware, graphics cards, laptops, motherboards, anything like that manufactured in China when imported into the United States will have a 25% tariff imposed on them. This tariff goes back several years. However, there was an exclusion that was put in place to December 31st, 2022, and if that exclusion is not extended come January 1st, 2023, those products will be 25% more expensive. Again, this only pertains to Chinese manufactured hardware. So if it's hardware manufactured in Taiwan, I don't believe that will be impacted. It has to be, I think, manufactured on mainland China. So some things will be impacted, others will not. And we won't know until I don't believe there's a list of where each company manufactures their GPUs. So it'll be kind of a guessing game come January 1st, which GPU products by which manufacturer, or even probably by model, will be going up because of this 25% tariff. Again, the exclusion could be extended. We don't know that right now. We're getting pretty close to the end of the year. I definitely wouldn't be holding my breath on anything like that. So if you were in the market to get a GPU, now is time would be the time to pull the trigger on that and buy one, because it's going to get significantly more expensive come 2023.